You're listening to NFRN The Drive, your place for NFRN, NASCAR, and motorsport news. Hello again, everybody. My name is Colin Denton. Excited to be back with you for another edition of NFRN The Drive. We did have a little bit of a break last time as we decided not to do it for our most recent stream, which was race number 6 of the Elite Cup Series. But we are returning, and we have a bit of action to catch up on. The last two events have not been covered, so let's cover them right now. Starting off with the NFRN AllStar Race. 16 drivers in total making the show, Julio Caesar being the one that leads them off. But some trouble coming to pit stops on the first green flag run. Stuart Gradden not expecting Ryan Maiden to cut down, and that ensues some chaos as the 99 car goes for a tumble. I think the biggest save here, Noah Carr is driving through this entire thing. Mostly might have gotten out of damages. A little contact from David Davidson. About to land right on top of him. Colin Lindsay gets the first segment win, but William Brock, next segment, runs down on NASCAR Fan 19. That sends them both over. William Brock taking the hardest tumble of them all as he goes flying over the pit lane wall and lands on all fours, fortunately. And then later on in the segment, Reese Butcher and Caesar make contact, and with this Ashley also involved, Butcher would save it. Noah Cars runs into Julio Caesar, knocking those cars out. And that leaves only 6 cars on the track. And Johnny Gardner barely beats out Colin Lindsay to the line to win segment number 2. Segment 3, all clean. Little problem for Stuart Gradden on pit lane, but Reese Butcher wins the segment over Rampage. But it's the final lap of the race that really brings all the intensity. As Colin Lindsay makes the move to the bottom of Stuart Gradden, it looks like he might have the advantage coming off the final turn, but it turns out Stuart Gradden takes it past in his number 29 Blue Bullet and wins by 3/1000ths of a second, which is the closest finish in NFRN history. One unfortunately won't go in the official record books for it being an exhibition race, but definitely something he can hold on to until someone's able to beat that. Hopefully in an official race. Points paying, as you can see, none paid out in this race. Only 6 running at the finish line, which was all Fords and Chevrolets. All of the Toyotas dropped out of this one. NASCAR Fan 19 leading them in 10th place. And a lot of accidents taking place here, but weeds out Stuart Gradden as the AllStar Race winner. And no need to transport the haulers yet, because then we'd be going racing with all 42 cars at the same racetrack for the points paying race, race number 6. Julio Caesar getting into pole sitter Ryan Kendall in his debut, making contact with Dwayne Calloway, but a terrifying tumble for that All-Star Race winner as Stuart Gradden with contact from Dale Jr. Fan 88-83, up and over on his nose, on his rear bumper, flipping in every which direction, finishes last place. Next caution flag, Tyler Markell make contact, NASCAR Fan 19 gets involved. 48 with a couple flips there. And then coming to the caution flag, it's Stephen Willie and Jonathan Rains, the teammates, making contact, which sends David Davidson over the wall. Flips a couple times. And some more incidents as the brakes just aren't working as the 98 car makes major contact. A slow roll for the 4 car as NASCAR Fan 19 comes in late. Dale Jr. Fan 88-83 also takes himself out finally. Then contact between Noah Ponser, Johnny Gardner, and with this Ashley with contact, Craig Martin, and a big hit right there with Dominic Carranza onto Ponser in the back of the field. And then the final caution coming out with Cody Hagan getting down into the wall, and Craig Martin trying to avoid it, just narrowly makes contact, which is going to send him up into the berm and lands on his roof and back onto all 4 tires as he rolls down the banking. And then contact on pit road as Noah Cars tries to fly by and get some positions, gets into Jack Porkins, which is going to have an impact on the final restart, but also contact between Aiden Shepard and Zachary Fitzwater Sr., and the 9 car turns the 7 into the wall. Heavy damage on both those race cars. They're not out quite yet, but definitely not in contention anymore as Fitzwater running great all race long. But the 44 and the 04 with that contact on pit road don't get started. It becomes a 2-car race between Reese Butcher and Gerard Aron. Butcher dealing with a lot of lap traffic which gives the 91 a couple opportunities to lead, but it looks like Reese Butcher's going to run away with it until contact with the lapped car of Ryan Maiden. Gets him across the finish line, and Butcher still gets it, but that differential was extremely close, 0.02 of a second, and that is the closest finish in a points-paid race that we have seen, and that is also going to be officially in the record books as the closest finish in the NFRN so far. Butcher getting the win and getting all the points, and that puts him to the top of the championship standings. Stuart Gradden with his last place finish. That was the last thing he wanted to see, but fortunately he has the win to back him up to get into the playoffs. Gerard Iran, who could have really used that win just for the sake of having something to compete for, is going to still be back there in the lower part of the standings. Well, tonight marks the return of the NFRN Truck Series, and it has been quite a while. July was the last time these guys ran. That is 10 months' time, and obviously technical issues are a big factor in that, but also the scheduling, because the big break happens between race number 2 and race number 3. Fortunately, those breaks are far and few between for the rest of the season. We finally got through that section of the schedule, and now the Truck Series should be a little bit more consistent coming out with the rest of the series. It'll be a lot more backloaded, but because we've had such a long break, we do want to take a quick look at the top 10 in the standings. And among those likes, you see Barry Watson and Mike Simpson, your 2 winners so far this season. Watson winning at Columbia, Simpson at Pikes Peak. Adam Kuhn, the runner-up at Columbia, still running a solid 3rd place. Tyler Reed up here in 4th. A couple of part-timers who have qualified for both events, Adam Lewis and Derek Northrup, are still in the top 10. And then you got a couple of other drivers within Hunter Cox, Steve Ray, Jason McConnell, and Kevin Knight, all who have had solid runs going for them in these past 2 races. That is the top of the point standings right now. With Twin Ring Motegi, we're going to see who's going to be the 3rd to take a playoff spot and see if they can run away with it to a championship. In keeping in tune with NFRN Truck Series news, we have a lot of drivers making their debut in today's race. Now, there are going to be some that are going to debut in race number 4. Those will be noted, but we're going to take a look at the drivers and paint schemes and numbers that these drivers that are debuting today are going to be running, at least for this race. We start off with Tristan Ludette driving the number 1 Eagle Convenience Stores Chevrolet, making his first attempt, as well as Jordan Probst. Number 6, Unsponsored Machine, hails from North Carolina. Etienne Jones, all the way over from England, making his first attempt in the number 02 Young's Chevrolet. Jeff Kabica will be in the number 03 Chevrolet, unsponsored as well. Australian Isaac Nichols coming in and driving the number 07 Chevrolet for today's race. Aiden Wilder will be making his first attempt in the number 08 Tilted Kilt Chevrolet. And a fellow Californian and Donnie Williams driving the number 18 Toyota in today's race. Benjamin Roberts will start his tenure in the number 23 Allegiant Chevrolet. Aiden Fife will pilot number 28 Fire Department of New York Chevrolet. In the number 29 Cooper Standard Ford will be William Seaman from out of Iowa. Brett Graham will drive the number 32 Great Clips Chevrolet for this race. And Steven Schaff in the number 71 Napa Chevrolet. And our final debuter in today's race is Tyler Sage, driving the number 81 Toyota, sponsored by Goodyear. And of course, there is the race 4 debuters that we will be looking forward to. This is not an official list yet. We still have some time for the deadline of this race, but we'll get into that next story. And as you've noticed from this list of growing part-time drivers, the influx of people coming in has grown a ton since we began season number 2. And as a result, we are excited to announce that the NFRN is going to be bringing back one of its folded series in a part-time capacity. So, starting at race number 4, that race 4 weekend rather, when that stream comes out, there will be open modified series racing, and we'll have the details right here. So this will be a league, or rather a series dedicated to part-time truck drivers. Now, there's no separate entry into this. If you are signed up for the part-time truck series entry, you will be automatically entered into this. And the trucks that you're driving for that race will determine what you run in this race. They will be modifieds inspired by the trucks that are being raced in for part-timers. Now, this will be 4 races, non-points paying, so no championship given out in this case, but pretty much acting like an exhibition. And the tracks that we will be going to with the race number tied to them, corresponding with the truck series race. So this upcoming race will be at White Mountain. So when we go to Trenton in the truck series, the modifieds will be racing at White Mountain. On race number 8, it will be at Portland. In race 12, it will be Milwaukee Mile, and that will actually take place a week ahead of time because the Amateur and Cup Series will be at Milwaukee Mile racing there. Since that is going to be on the schedule, that modified race will take place a week before the Truck Series race 12. And the finale will take place at Lonesome Pine. That will be Truck Series race 15. Now, the setup for this series will be 5 equally divided groups based on how many entries there are. And the top 2 will advance to a main feature, and from there, they will all battle it out for the checkered flag. Qualifying in those will be randomized just to draw out of the hat to see who's going to be able to get to the front. And the entry lists for these races will lock with the deadline for each truck race. So the deadline for the next truck race, which will also be the deadline for this Open Modified Series race, will be next Sunday at midnight Eastern time. So if you want to take part in this and you're not a part of the league already, make sure to get your entry in before then, because that will also mean you will be eligible to race or attempt to qualify for Trenton, which is race number 4 of the truck series. So we've covered the NFRN news. Now let's talk a little bit of NASCAR. Now, with the conclusion of Dover, we have reached the 11 race point, and unfortunately this is being recorded at a point where we don't know the winner of Dover at this point. So any information that we are currently talking about is not going to include that, but of course we will have the winner on tomorrow's episode of the Daily Drive. But we'll talk about the race winners that we do know as of this recording. So we have seen a trend of 4 drivers suddenly becoming pretty powerful. That comes due in part to Kevin Harvick. As you can see, he's won 3 times this season. Add on Clint Bowyer, who's been on a long winless streak, as well as Joey Logano at Talladega, getting wins for the Ford camp. Kyle Busch went on a 3-race streak as well, and Martin Truex Jr. also picking up a win for Toyota. Austin Dillon being the only Chevrolet in the field. So if you're keeping count, that's 5 Fords, 4 Toyotas, and 1 Chevrolet grabbing wins this season. That's essentially locking in their chase spots, but seems like Chevrolet not getting as much performance out of the Camaro as they would like. It's going to be interesting to see if they can improve on that as they go about the season. But, of course, it also raises an interesting question. How many drivers are going to see win? Because Kevin Harvick winning 3 in a row, Kyle Busch winning 3 in a row. This is going to be an interesting thing to look out for the rest of the season. So, we are going to post our poll question of the day, and this is going to be voted on in the uploaded version of this video. How many drivers are going to lock themselves into the chase through a win? Is it going to be between 6 and 8, 9 and 11, 12 to 14, or 15 or 16 drivers that are in the chase, or playoffs rather, through a win, not through points? So make sure to vote on that through the uploaded version of this video, not the stream, and we will have those results next time. So as we wrap up this edition of NFRN The Drive, we would like to give a few reminders. Entries for the 24-hour race for the NFRN is still open, and we have had a good amount of teams sign up, but we would like to see as many as we can get into the show. Just a reminder, you have to be a driver in some capacity, and that can be as simple as signing up for the part-time trucks, and you're able to get into a team, which can come through either forming a team on your own or putting yourself in the pool that will be auto-assigned come post race 16, which is when production on the race will actually start. In the description, you'll find a link to go to the initial sign-up video, which will give you all the rules and regulations that will be more expansive than this. And from there, you will find the sign-up link in that description. And as previously mentioned, NFRN Truck Series part-time sign-ups are also open, and they will be closed down a week from today to get started on race number 4 and lock down the open modified entries. So if you don't have a ride in the NFRN right now, you might want to be getting over there soon, because that will close up quick. And finally, as always, we would like to remind everyone to join the NFRN Discord, merged alongside the ASCA League, which of course is commentated in the Cooperative Amateur Series by myself. Over there you'll find quick news and updates that I wouldn't be able to otherwise give on video podcasts. That link also in the description, instant invite, and you'll be right into the server as long as you got an account, which can also be signed up for pretty easily. So that's going to wrap it up for this edition of NFR in the Drive. Twin Ring Motegi Racing from the Truck Series coming up soon. We will have the Elite Cup Series coming at a later date that is not yet determined due to timing issues. That is not able to be raced tonight, but you get to enjoy some NFR and Truck Series racing, and those drivers have definitely been waiting for a long time. So, for NFR and RVN, my name is Colin Denton. Good night, and good riddance.
No!